welcome. Thank you for joining us by the web today. I'm so excited to share the next generation of ROG Phone, the ultimate gaming phone for those who dare to win. Providing the best gaming experiences with the latest technology has always been the goal and commitment of ROG since it was established 15 years ago. We continuously implement our know-how and users' feedback to achieve new milestones with each generation we build. And this new generation continues the legacy of ROG phones as the leading gaming smartphones with exceptional performance, displays, audio, control, and battery life. So, without further ado, let's meet the ROG Phone 5. It takes a top-notch team and partners to create top-notch innovations like the ROG Phone 5 series. With the world's leading Qualcomm Snapdragon 888 5G mobile platform, the ROG Phone 5 series delivers mobile gaming performance like never before. To share more about it, I would like to welcome our longtime partner, Chris Patrick, SVP of Engineering of Qualcomm. Hi, Chris.
Hello, SY and everyone. I'm Chris Patrick, SVP and GM of Handsets at Qualcomm Technologies Incorporated. I am delighted to be part of the ROG Phone 5 announcement today. On behalf of Qualcomm, I want to congratulate the ROG team for building such an impressive mobile gaming device using our industry-leading Qualcomm Snapdragon 888 5G mobile platform. The iconic ROG mobile gaming smartphone continues to impress the entire industry. Every aspect of the design is intended to push the boundaries of mobile gaming. Built from the ground up to take advantage of the Qualcomm Snapdragon Elite gaming feature set, the ROG Phone 5 is engineered to deliver up to 144 frames per second with flawless quality and super smooth performance. True satisfaction in gaming comes from total immersion and being lost in the experience. The ROG Phone 5 utilizes the Qualcomm Adreno GPU for the smoothest gaming experience and the highest graphical quality possible. Meanwhile, the Gaming Network Latency Manager optimizes network settings for more efficient and fluid online gaming. Thanks again to the ROG team for the amazing job that you have done on the ROG Phone 5, making it a true showcase for Snapdragon Elite gaming. Congratulations and best wishes on a great launch.
Thank you, Chris and Qualcomm, for this incredible partnership. I'm sure you cannot wait to hear more about our new ROG Phone 5 series. So, let's welcome Sasha, Director of Technical Marketing at ASUS ROG, to introduce it to you.
Thank you, SY. All right, let me talk you through the key specs and features of this mobile powerhouse. And let's start with the obvious part first, the looks. Just like the current ROG phone, we stuck to a very classy and subtle design. So from the front, it's a clean black slab of glass with subtle red accents on the side. And on the rear, you'll find a cyberpunky retro 8-bit pixel dot design that matches our 2021 ROG products. The ROG RGB logo has 2 lighting zones now for even more customizations, and it's not just for looks. You can define colors and different animations for different app notifications as well. And surprise, there's a white version too. So you can now choose between a black or a white ROG phone. And now with the design out of the way, let's dig a bit deeper and talk about specs and features. ROG phones are built from the ground up for gamers. They're not just a rehash of another device. But what makes a phone a gaming phone? SY already hinted at it, the 5 key points that we focus on with our ROG Phone series. These are points that, through surveys, customers tell us matter the most to them. That is performance, display, audio, control, and battery life. Performance is the most obvious, and Chris made clear Qualcomm has our back there. Customers want PC and console level graphics and the highest possible FPS. And thanks to Qualcomm's 5nm Snapdragon 888 5G mobile platform, the ROG Phone 5 delivers exceptional performance and impressive visuals. To truly unleash the full potential and keep the FPS up not just until the end of a benchmark run, but through the entire game session, we developed an impressive cooling system for our gaming phones with an ultra-slim vapor chamber and a graphite sheet. To optimize cooling and performance further, we completely changed the layout of the ROG Phone 5. The SoC now sits right smack in the middle of the phone, which allows us to dissipate heat faster and more evenly. Not extreme enough for you? You want active cooling? Whether you really want to push your ROG Phone 5 to the limit and get some extra FPS, or keep your phone super cool, we got you covered. Our revamped Areoactive Cooler 5 now blows fresh air straight onto the center of the ROG Phone 5, right above the SoC. This drops the surface temperature by up to 15 degrees Celsius and the SoC temperature by up to 10 degrees Celsius. The fan is surprisingly quiet. I can't hear it at all, even when holding it straight to my ears. Pair the best parts with the best cooling and you get record-setting performance. As you can see, the ROG Phone 5 is a true portable powerhouse. Alright, those specs and benchmark scores sound impressive, but let's look at what this is all about, having a blast. You might be surprised we picked this particular game title and not a shooter, but Genshin Impact features complex and beautiful environments that are actually very demanding and can really push phones to their limit. And as you can see, we're able to run this demanding title at a stable, high FPS for a smooth, immersive experience without any lag or stutter. And these stats are from a long session, showing that the ROG Phone 5 can deliver impressive performance for hours on end. But what good would all this performance be with a small, bleak display? From a gaming phone, our customers expect the largest possible display with vibrant colors and deep blacks, running at the highest possible refresh rate. And thanks to our close partnership with Samsung Display, the ROG Phone 5 comes with the latest and greatest in OLED goodness. This year we were able to squeeze an even larger display into our ROG Phone 5, going from 6.6 to 6.8 inches. And that's with an almost identical chassis. The ROG Phone 5 is only 2 mm longer and 1 mm wider than the current model. Naturally, we didn't compromise on anything. With a 144 Hz refresh rate, 1 millisecond gray-to-gray response time, and a delta E below 1. All of this premium display goodness comes protected by the toughest ever Gorilla Glass Victus. But even the best display can only look as good as the content you feed it. So we added a Pixelworks i6 visual processor to the ROG Phone 5 to supercharge videos and games, make them even more vibrant, minimize color banding and black crush, and essentially turn SDR content into HDR content. While purists will probably want to turn it off, it really does make videos and games look even better. Higher refresh rates really help a lot in making games look and feel more smooth and immersive as well. You're watching a 60 Hz video here, so this is just an example of the benefits. But for any of you who aren't convinced and can't tell the difference between 60 Hz and 120 Hz right away, you can give it a try for just a single match on a friend's phone, and trust me, once you get used to 120 Hz and above, it's painful to go back to 60 Hz. And on phones, displays aren't just for viewing, they're also the primary input method. We developed our own custom supercharged touchscreen system that clocks at an insane 300 Hz for super low input latency. This allows taps to be recognized almost instantly, which can really give you a competitive advantage in fast-paced multiplayer games. Another common input mechanic in mobile games are sliding motions and swipes. In games like LOL Rift Rivals, for example, being able to swipe faster and more precisely can really turn a match around. And here too, the supercharged 300 Hz touch input system on the ROG Phone 5 is notably more responsive. People often underestimate how much more immersive an experience is with good audio. The GameFX sound system on the ROG Phone 5 comes with dual 7-magnet speakers for nicely balanced stereo audio. And you'll find that compared to other phones, the ROG Phone 5 is notably louder, has a wider soundstage, and great sound quality. And surprise, based on popular demand and thanks to the now fully integrated 5G modem, which saves space, and a complete relayout of the PCB, we were able to bring back the 3.5mm audio jack. And since we knew right from the beginning we were bringing it back, we decided to go all out. The ROG Phone 5 comes with a top-of-the-line ESS headphone deck. Audio is very subjective though, and every headset sounds slightly different. That's why we provide our own Audio Wizard app with 4 professionally tuned profiles by Direct, along with a fully customizable equalizer control deck. The next part that really sets gaming phones apart from regular phones is input. You want full control over your games, low latency, high precision, and ideally keep as little of the display as possible blocked by your hands. Our latest AirTrigger 5 control system combines several input and control methods to achieve just that. Our ultrasonic AirTrigger buttons on the top corners of the phone come in really handy here. And we greatly expanded the motion control system on the ROG Phone 5. We can now detect several distinct movements, which you can then map to different button presses. Some of this is surprisingly intuitive. I'm sure we've all seen somebody play a jump and run game and pull up the GamePad when jumping. And flicking controllers up or down to reload is a very common mechanic in arcades and with VR controllers. You can now do this with your ROG Phone 5 too. Haptic feedback really adds a lot of immersion as well. With our brand new haptic audio feature, you can now add tactile feedback to shooters. So when you shoot your gun, you not only hear it, but you feel each shot. It's only a hint of a recoil or a GamePad rumble, but it really adds to the immersion. And the last but arguably most important point that separates regular phones from gaming phones, battery size. Our ROG phones have a reputation for incredible stamina, and the 6,000 mAh 22Wh monster battery in the ROG Phone 5 continues this tradition. There are tablets with smaller battery packs. What's new is that we split the battery into 2 parts. This allows us to center the SoC, but also improves battery thermals. Thanks to a new cell design, we can now also safely charge faster with up to 65-watt hypercharge. While on the previous gen, we could already charge from 0 to 50% in only 30 minutes, we can now do this in under 15. So yeah, record-setting performance, a top-of-the-line 144Hz OLED display, impressive audio, and plenty of low-latency input methods. But what good is all of this if you run out of battery in the heat of the match? As you can see, the ROG Phone 5 is able to game for hours on end, notably longer than other phones on the market. We were the first to bring a side charging port to phones, and naturally the ROG Phone 5 keeps it. We offer you 2 Type-C ports to charge and connect accessory to. So whether you watch movies or play games in landscape mode or use your phone in portrait mode, you always have a perfectly placed port. Armory Crate is our one-stop control center for all features and games on your phone. You can set up and customize scenario profiles for each app, not just games, and individually tune performance settings and more. We offer you several different operating modes to balance battery, performance, and temperatures. While X mode boosts your gaming performance by pushing the SoC to the max, we now have something even more extreme. With our Areoactive Cooler 5, you can now unlock X mode Plus for even higher clocks and FPS. Under advanced settings, there are dozens of detailed Android and SoC tuning options to squeeze out every drop of performance. Remember that 2-zone ROG RGB logo I mentioned earlier? Like I said, it's not just cosmetic, but actually functional. In Armory Crate, you can define color combination or animations to be tied to system events and app notifications. You can have it flash white and teal for email notifications, for example, or set it to glow in a color wave pattern when you have an incoming call. Don't fix what isn't broken. We left the impressive camera module largely untouched in the ROG Phone 5. It uses the same main sensor as the Zenfone 7 Pro, which famously won the MKBHD blind camera competition, where the audience voted on pictures without knowing which phone they were actually taken with. The camera on the ROG Phone 5 definitely won't hold you back. Alright, good people, that sums up everything about the ROG Phone 5. Next up, let's look at our accessory lineup. Remember the Areoactive Cooler 5? There's even more to it. Besides improved cooling and performance, it also comes with a bottom-facing 3.5mm audio jack. and a set of very nice clicky trigger buttons, and a kickstand too. On top of that, we fine-tuned our popular ROG Kunai GamePad. You can use it as a super compact Bluetooth controller or split it up and attach it to either side of the ROG Phone 5. Either way, it adds plenty of physical buttons for low latency tactile input and keeps the entire display free of your fingers, in some games doubling the effective screen size. If you want more RGB, hey, we got you covered too. Our brand new lighting armor case supersizes the RGB ROG logo on the back of the phone. The ROG Phone 5 already delivers impressive built-in audio, but if you want better immersion, especially in noisy environments, we got several headsets options for you. First up, our ROG Cetra II active noise cancelling in-ear headphones. I really like this cool lightweight case they come with, which help to keep them clean and tidy. We have new LSR drivers for better audio, softer and more comfy silicone rubber tips and fins, and the mics are in each earbud now. So instead of talking into the inline remote, you can speak freely and naturally. There's a convenient ANC ambient mode for when you do want to hear other people for a quick chat without having to pull the earbuds out of your ears. The Cetra II come with USB Type-C and Aura Sync compatible RGB lighting, and there's a 3.5mm core version as well. I actually just bought a wireless ROG Strix Go 2.4, but I can't believe right now there's a Bluetooth version and I'm really excited for this one. With a battery life of up to 45 hours, you'll make it through several days, if not an entire week, before having to charge it up. It has 3 active noise cancelling modes, plus our AI noise cancelling mic tech, so it's perfect for calls as well. It also works with a 3.5mm cable, so you can use it with consoles and pretty much any device, making it very versatile. I said we were done talking about the ROG Phone 5. Well, I lied. There's another surprise we have for you today. Meet the ROG Phone 5 Pro. The ROG Phone 5 Pro comes with our ROG Vision second display. This 64 by 256 color PM OLED display is really eye-catching and fun to play around with. The ROG Vision display is fully customizable and can show a number of animations based on system events. For example, if your ROG Phone 5 Pro is charging, there's an incoming call, X mode is enabled, and so on. You can even create your own custom animations to personalize your phone. It only takes a few seconds. You download an image or snap a picture, select it in the ROG Vision app, choose an animation filter, and that's it. The ROG Phone 5 Pro also comes with 2 extra buttons on the lower back of the phone. Together with the 2 trigger buttons on the top and the 2 buttons on the Areoactive Cooler 5, you get up to 6 buttons total. It's a bit tricky to balance the phone trying to use all of these at the same time, but hey, better too many buttons than not enough. And I'm sure some games definitely benefit a lot from having extra buttons, and it's worth it to take some time to get used to them. We know a lot of you love to customize your phones and environments and immerse yourself in your favorite game with stickers, wallpapers, figurines, and posters of your favorite characters. That's why we're working with dozens of publishers to bring as much as possible of this to the ROG Phone 5. At launch, we're going to have various theme packs for the ROG Phone 5 series, with more coming in the future. Each of those theme packs consists of an animated wallpaper, an incoming call animation, and an ROG Vision animation. I hope you guys enjoyed this ROG Phone 5 overview. This is all I have for you today. Back to you, SY.
Thank you everyone for staying tuned with us. The ROG Phone 5 series is truly exceptional. And we still have one more thing in store for you. Meet the ROG Phone 5 Ultimate, a limited edition made especially for you. our ROG fans. It's the first ROG phone with a stunning white matte finish and streamlined patterns for a futuristic vibe. ROG Phone 5 Ultimate has all the brilliant features of ROG Phone 5 Pro, plus one truly unique addition. It is the world's first smartphone with 18 GB of RAM. With its outstanding performance, ROG Phone 5 Ultimate brings you the best gaming experience in style. Over the years, we have received an incredible response from fans of ROG Phone. Thank you for all of your support. To show our appreciation and commemorate our journey together, we include an exclusive limited fan gift collection with ROG Phone 5 Ultimate. The ROG Phone 5 series is the ultimate gaming smartphone for best mobile gaming experiences. Now, here is the moment everyone has been waiting for. ROG Phone 5 with 16 GB of RAM and 256 GB ROM will be available for €999. ROG Phone 5 with 12 GB of RAM and 256 GB ROM will be available for €899. ROG Phone 5 with 8 GB of RAM and 128 GB ROM will be available for €799. Next is ROG Phone 5 Pro with 16 GB of RAM and 512 GB ROM, which will be available for $1199. And finally, the ROG Phone 5 Ultimate that comes with the exclusive limited ROG Ultimate Fan Gift Collection with an astonishing 18 GB of RAM and 512 GB ROM. ROG Phone 5 Ultimate will be available for $1299. I'm so excited to start gaming with the ROG Phone 5 series, and I hope you are too. Keep following ROG to stay up to date with our latest innovations that deliver the best experiences to gamers everywhere. The ROG Phone 5 All-Star Showmatch is about to begin. Stay tuned, and I hope you enjoy the show!
Hello and welcome to the ROG Phone 5 All-Star Showmatch. We're here as part of the ROG Phone 5 launch event, and my name is Elfish Guy. I'll be your host for today. I'm joined by Riku, as always, looking fantastic. Riku, how are you feeling today?
Absolutely excited today, as again we've seen a lot of amazing features coming from, again, the newest ROG phone, which is the ROG Phone 5.
Yeah, obviously, it would be remiss of us not to mention the ROG Phone 5 and the ROG Phone 5 Ultimate, which are being used by some of our players today. Of course, you know, some of the cool features we've been sort of discussing off air. I've been quite interested in the 144 hertz monitor, or the display for the phone, which is something that you normally see when you're coming to PC gaming. I myself have 144 hertz monitors, and I've got a phone which has something like a 60 hertz monitor. So, you know, I think when you put those two and two together, you probably want to be going for the phone with the 144 hertz display. That will give you a bit of a benefit when you're playing games on your mobile.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to give you a huge boost and advantage. And for sure, also, we have the ROG Phone 5 Ultimate that has 18 gigs of RAM. That's absolutely insane. Even my PC doesn't have that much of RAM, actually. And of course, if you avail for the ROG Phone 5 Ultimate, you get a fan gift collection. It is limited quantity, and it comes with an ROG mask cover, a baseball cap, towels, and so much more freebies. It's amazing.
Plenty of goodies involved. And speaking of goodies, by the way, it's not just the players and us that get to have a good time here today. You yourself at home can actually win a little bit of swag, some stuff here and there from ROG. They've got some giveaways lined up for you. So if you're interested in winning something here or there, you should be able to put a little bit of a message down in the live stream, and you'll be able to potentially win something. Use the hashtag ROG Phone 5, hashtag for those who dare. And you can obviously pick yourself up something pretty cool. You know, there's any number of things that you can grab, Riku, but winning a phone certainly wouldn't be too shabby at all.
Yeah, Absolutely. Don't forget the hashtags, and as well as 5 lucky winners will be drawn and announced on ROG social media. So don't forget to follow those ROG channels to get updated.
Yeah, remember, it is just a comment in the live stream chat. That's all you need to do, and use those hashtags as well. That would be pretty important, I would imagine. Anyway, look, what's also pretty important is going to be the teams that we're going to get to watch today, Riku. So let's go ahead and introduce our influencers and our teams. All right, well, those are our team, Star Guardians and Shadow Order. Riku, obviously a couple of fairly known quantities within those rosters. You yourself are from the Philippines, so you must know a little bit about a couple of those players.
I know, we've got your favorite content creators and streamers across Southeast Asia. And if we're talking about maybe players to watch out for Star Guardians, I gotta say, Dexy Diaz definitely has a bit of experience in the local scene when it comes to tournaments. So definitely looking forward to, again, Dexy from the Philippines. And on the other side of the spectrum, we've got Shadow Order, which I think solos could really, really be that scary opponent on this team. That's the reason why I'm looking forward to his performance, especially he has represented Malaysia countless of times.
Yeah, I think that's a good point as well that you bring up about the experience of all of these players as well, you know. I'm not sure how much you've had when it comes to playing in competitive environments and that kind of thing. And even though this is a show match, it still brings a level of pressure that you might not expect if you've never been involved in something like that. I myself have played in LAN cafe tournaments. That's like the peak of my gaming career. And a LAN cafe tournament isn't necessarily a big deal, but you'd be surprised by how much pressure actually you feel on your shoulders when you're actually playing those games.
Exactly, there's still that competitive tag coming with it. Even though it says show match, you still got your competitive spirit going. So we'll have to see how this pans out.
Yeah, you know people are going to be watching. You know that there's a little bit of something on the line when it does come to winning or losing in front of all those eyes. So there is a lot to talk about in that respect. But what we do have to do, Riku, is move into our draft and get to have a look at what our teams and what our players are going to be selecting.
I wonder if they're going for this really fun draft. I mean, they're Star Guardians. Why not pick a Lux, wear that Star Guardian skin, maybe even pick that Jinx? But looking at the composition so far, we've got a Mumu. At least you have the jungler already intact. And if I am guessing correctly, we'll have to see whether or not this Ahri is actually for sure going to be in the mid lane. I actually tried a bit of Ahri support. Please don't do that in reg. It's a little bit effective, depending on how you use it. But Lulu and Vayne actually a very, very strong combo in the bottom side of the map. But I guess they're still picking what they need to pick.
Yeah, I guess we do have to wait and see whether those are going to get locked in. I think the Graves matchup into a Mumu, obviously having a look at that towards the jungle more so than anything else, is going to be a difficult one for a Mumu. We know Graves is quite a strong early game jungler. He's going to be looking for those invades. He's going to be looking for those early engages, especially around the scuttlers. And for a Mumu, he takes a little bit longer to scale. So that could be a difficult point already that I can see here for Star Guardians. And having locked in the Vayne, again, another late game carry. Expecting maybe to see a little bit of a slower start here for Star Guardians and looking more towards the late game rather than the early game skirmishes.
Yeah, for sure. Star Guardians are just forming a wombo combo heavy team fight composition. And meanwhile, just as you mentioned, Shadow Order hoping to see if they can get the early game, if they can get ahead and crush them early to deny any sort of the win conditions that Star Guardians has. But yep, no role playing here. Shadow Order or Star Guardians, they're fine. They're aiming to win.
Yeah, it's a strange bot lane selection here as well from Shadow Order, isn't it? If you're used to traditional League of Legends, what you would normally see is an AD carry in the bot lane. That would be like Vayne, for example, what the Star Guardians have selected. But for Shadow Order, they don't actually have an AD carry in their lineup there. So I'm assuming it's probably going to be Lux Ziggs down in the bot lane. It's going to be a lot of wave clear. You're going to be shoving that wave in. And I actually think that could work for Shadow Order here, to be honest. Star Guardians don't have a great wave clearing the wave. They're going to get shoved into that tower. And, well, it's just going to be Vayne and Braum trying to CS under the turret, which is never going to be a fun time at all.
I think so too. I think what the Shadow Order has been thinking, okay, we have a Graves, let's just put him in that air quote 80 carry position in the jungler, and we still have a solid comp. But we'll have to see how Shadow Order executes their very strong and aggressive early composition.
Well, yeah, I mean, what I'm seeing, obviously, is that Akali's taken the smite here, so it's going to have to be Akali jungle for Shadow Order, and presumably Graves is going to go down into the bot lane, which, yeah, we can see. Again, a little bit non-traditional, I suppose, but sometimes when it does come to non-traditional off-meta picks, you were even talking about that right as we started the show. You know, you were saying you were taking Ahri support sometimes in ranked, and it might not be meta, but I've been seeing it pop up a little bit here and there, and it seems to have its place.
Yeah, absolutely. It still works. It is a little bit similar, I guess. You do have some sort of CC at least to start and engage the fight, and the same goes for the Lux and the Graves bot lane here, which is just to have that Q. And I think this Faye is gonna have a really hard time here with this Pokemon.
Well, particularly if you get caught by one of the bindings from Lux, that's going to make life quite difficult. King Sawyer, you know, tumbling forward, looking to get a little bit aggressive, maybe trying to get some poke down, but as you mentioned, Sawyer on the Vayne doesn't have a whole lot of range, so really just going to have to be sitting behind that turret, trying to farm up as much as possible. It's the opposite up in the top lane, though. You know, you look in the top lane, Nai on Kennen, he's going to have the advantage in terms of being able to get that poke down, whereas for Garen, that champion, he doesn't really have too much range at all, you know, so he's just going to have to charge forward, run in, try and get those silences, but obviously at that point, you've already taken a fair bit of poke damage, so top lane, you know, it feels like the tables turn for Star Guardians there.
That's true. It has to be, the Garen has to be very careful, especially once he reaches level 6, especially if he's poked down into a very awkward HP count, but here's the binding.
Yeah, the binding connects onto Braum, but Braum generally a fairly tanky champion, so we'll be able to just pick that shield up, walk his way out of there relatively okay, and seems to have some pots available to deal back on up with, so should be okay in the bot lane. Looking at the gold lead, I mean, it's just a little bit more favourable for Star Guardians at the moment, but we haven't seen First Blood yet, so I think things can change quite quickly.
Yeah, things can still be, I bet once everybody else reaches level 5, I think that's the point where a lot of these teams, especially Shadow Order, will be a little bit more aggressive. They have to take note and have to be careful once the Amumu comes in, reaches level 5, as that is the key level where they can actually be a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good point, right? We haven't really seen the junglers getting involved all that much just yet. We've got wards down throughout the river, so it's going to be obviously a bit difficult for them to be doing a whole lot, but sooner or later, those junglers are going to start to work their way into mid. I mean, even now, you can see Kennen actually all the way from the top lane. Nai has come down into mid, try to put some pressure onto that Ziggs. Hasn't resulted in a kill, but pressure is pressure, right? And that continues to force the issue a little bit.
Oh, but there's another reply on that pressure as Zulu actually forced to use a flash.
Penjahat on the Amumu, jumping straight in, but able to lock down the Shadow Order bot lane long enough for his teammates to come and help out.
Yeah, it's the point where there is the timing of having to remove, at least burn a bit of the summoner spells. I mean, the Ahri already has burned her flash, and therefore, I guess it's the prime opportunity for the Ziggs, and as well as the Akali to do something in the mid lane, as Zulu's going to be a little bit more vulnerable now.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I guess, when it comes to trying to find picks onto an Ahri, the ultimate is another hindrance, and both the mid laners have just hit level 6. Charm actually connects.
Oh,
great timing for Banken to come in as well to support, but he's in mid. And that's First Blood for Star Guardians. A nice little roam coming through from our bot laners. And Star Guardians coming away with First Blood.
Yeah, that's the beautiful First Blood. They're pretty patient. Banken actually going around to the opposite side of the river so that he gets that, you know, surprise tactic of not being on the bot side, river side. So yeah, Star Guardians rewarded for that patience in that roam.
Yeah, I mean, you are going to be giving up a little bit of control in the bot lane when you do roam up like that as a support, but end of the day, King Sawyer is stuck underneath the turret farming anyway, and so I don't really think that there's a huge necessity for the Braum to be in the bot lane right now. When you look at it, Graves, Lux, they're not exactly the kind of champions that are going to be able to tower dive, even if it is a 2v1. So I like that roam, and here comes another little bit of engagement. The Amumu, the stun connects, ultimate as well. Here's a chance for King Sawyer to get involved, and does manage to grab one kill, but things have not gone well for Star Guardians in that engagement. There's a counter gank that comes through from Shadow Order's jungler, and all of a sudden the tables turn back on their heads, and unfortunately for Shadow Order, that did not, or rather for Star Guardians, that did not go the way they wanted it to.
Not at all. They were outnumbered. It seems that Shadow Order just saw that gank coming. And I can tell, you know, solos of the Akali really wanting to dive in, especially you're an Akali with an easy way out. But, you know, patience is also going to be very rewarding, and they're happy to just take that first blood tower.
Yeah, it's a little unfortunate as well there for Star Guardians that Vayne wasn't actually able to pick up the kill. He got the assist. I think that kill actually went over onto the Amumu. So, look, you always want to be getting those kills onto your carry champions, and Vayne certainly is one of them. Dragon attempt and the steal attempt as well, but it hasn't gone too right. No. In the end, Shadow Order do take away the Dragon. Bankman tries to get in there and cause a bit of a ruckus. So too does Zulu. But neither being able to connect their skill shots, and so looks like Shadow Order will get out of there relatively safely.
Yeah, I think that was a little bit too close, but I think the rest of the Star Guardians were just coming out of their base. So it was still a nice attempt here by the Amumu, but Shadow Order taking a lot of objectives already from the first tower, and as well as the first dragon of the game.
First drag always useful. Cloud Drake, so not the strongest of dragons to pick up, but does give you a bit of ability haste for the ultimate, and for a team composition that is quite ultimate centric in Star Guardians. I think it's actually quite useful to deny that away from them as Shadow Order. You know, you think about Amumu being very ult centric, Kennen being very ult centric. Ari has a lot of usage out of her ultimate as well, so just to take that power away from Star Guardians is quite good. Even despite the fact that maybe Shadow Order won't use it as well with their champions.
Yep, absolutely, and that's the reason why that's still a pretty good move. And meanwhile, Ari, everyone else actually from the Star Guardians, hoping to get control over this Rift Herald, as actually the whole gang is out top side already, with the support from Shadow Order already moving towards that side. So if Star Guardians decides to try and fight this, they're going to be in the disadvantage in the numbers section. It's going to be a 4v5.
Well, again, this is kind of what I was talking about in the Champ Select, where Star Guardians, they don't exactly have that early game composition that wants to go for fights around the Scuttler, around the Rift Herald, around the first, second, or maybe even third Drake, depending on how the game is going. They want to give time for that Vayne to scale. They want to give time for even the Kennen. You know, these three champions really take a little bit of time to get involved in the game. Once they do, things are going to get a little bit more difficult for Shadow Order. But in the early stages of the game, I like that we're seeing Shadow Order try to push the issue and force these earlier fights. Now, Star Guardians are starting the Rift Herald, so we'll see how Shadow Order is going to move their way in that direction.
I think it's a pretty good call. I think they've spotted the Akali roaming in the opposite portion of the map. Okay, that is our signal to go for that Rift Herald. But that means they've given up the bot side of the map, and look at that, the Graves is continually pushing towards that second tier tower.
Yeah, tower's obviously a fairly important objective to be grabbing. You know, I think it's even more important at times earlier than the Dragons, and there is a defense this time from Star Guardians. King Sawyer gets jumped upon. Overblock Cop bursting that Vayne down, but the Ignite tick is going to be just a little bit too much, so it ends up being a 1-for-1 with another kill going over to the Ari. Zulu getting a little fed now for Star Guardians.
Yeah, I think since they're still waiting for the Vayne to sort of ramp up, I think most of the wave will be on Ari at this point of the game, till later on rather. And she's doing a pretty great job here, having to balance it out and slow down the pace of the Shadow Order.
Bit of ARAM going on, Shadow Order. They decided that that's the kind of game that they want to play, and to be fair, with the composition that they've got, I don't actually think that that's a terrible choice at all. They've got a Ziggs, they've got a Lux, that's a lot of poke. You talked about that even in the bot lane earlier on. So they're going to be able to siege these towers quite nicely. The Star Guardians, they are going to need to try to find a way to retaliate to that. Hopefully find a pick in some part of the map, and that may actually be top, which is where they're headed right now.
Yeah, but Bianca, Cake here on the Garen. A speedy Garen, not able to get a pick so far just yet. But yeah, you can tell there's a lot of respect. Oh no, that is... Whoa! Not at the right place. Lux towards the Rift Herald got sandwiched.
Yeah, sometimes just a case of timing, and I've had that happen to me on the support main. You go down, you try and put a ward, and then the enemy team collapses upon you, and all of a sudden you need to try and turn the fight around. And the ultimate goes through, cursing sad mummy. It connects onto Obot Cop, but yeah, Carly able to get out of there fine. Same for the Ziggs. Shadow Order don't lose anything further from that Lux pick, so they've actually done a great job of just slowing that game down a little bit and giving themselves time to reset here.
That was insane! I mean, you'd think that they were able to make it a 1-1 exchange for Star Guardians, jungler for jungler, but, you know, the Kali, too slippery. But this could be a potential tower dive, so Kennen must respect.
I don't know if the respect is there. The ultimate does come down from Nai. It's just enough to keep them at bay, but it's not enough to keep the tower up. So Shadow Order, they've grabbed themselves another turret. It's 2 turrets to 1 now, favoring Shadow Order. They've lost their top turret. They've got the bot and the top turret as well, and that second turret down in the bot lane as well is about half HP. So things are going pretty well, I'd say, for Shadow Order.
Yeah, Shadow Order getting a lot of objectives, and it creates this domino effect, and as you can see, Akali already making his way towards this dragon, as the rest of the squad from Star Guardians are still at the opposite side of the river. So I guess this is already a giveaway towards the Shadow Order. Maybe not. They're going in.
They're going to try and contest, but they might be here too late. Smite comes through.
Oh, no.
It's actually Garen to secure the Mountain Dragon for Shadow Order, but the fight is what really matters right here. Amumu has gone deep, so has Nai on the Kennen. It's straight across the board, but in the end, the dragon was slain by Shadow Order, and now they're up 2 dragons to 0.
Yep, it's the Garen Spike that has secured the dragon, the second dragon for Shadow Order, and it was a very, very interesting fight, but as we can see, Akali getting another kill off of that, you know, the aftermath of all that fight in the river.
Yeah, that Akali is going to be very difficult to deal with. 5-1 and 3, starting to look a little bit scary. You're waiting for that scaling to come and sort of kick in for Star Guardians. They're really, I think, relying on their Ari a lot in these fights, because that's the champion that has got a lot of the gold right now for Star Guardian. But when does Nai start to have an impact on that cannon? When does the Amumu start to have a big impact? You know, when does the Amumu start to become unkillable? Because that's the point where Star Guardian is going to be able to start turning this game back on its head.
Exactly, where is the Wombo combo, the 5v5 fights that we mentioned in the draft, but, you know, Shadow Order has been splitting Star Guardian since the beginning.
Yeah, and a lot of damage comes through early in the fight as well. Star Guardian's not looking too crash hot.
Wow!
Garen, another execute. This is going to be the end of the cannon as well, as soon as that Zhonya's ticks over, and another couple of picks for Shadow Order. Up to 45k gold, and as we're speaking, that gold lead just seems to increase and increase and increase. You know, 2 or 3 minutes ago, it was a 2k gold discrepancy, and now it's ballooned out to 8-9k.
Exactly, Shadow Order is just really giving Star Guardians a hard time, especially they've managed to take control over most of the parts in the map already, and when we looked at the fight earlier, that was the best set from the Kennen, but unfortunately no follow-up means not a lot to get out of that beautiful setup.
Yeah, I mean, it can be quite difficult when you are a Kennen that has fallen behind, because by nature that champion needs to be in close range, and if you don't have the damage and you are in close range trying to use your abilities, things can go pretty wrong. There's a catch here onto the Akali, and it's actually a CC chain as well. I did wonder, maybe Obot Cop could have gotten away. As you mentioned earlier, Akali very slippery, but not this time. Good CC chain from Star Guardians. They look to try and push the issue, but the Braum ultimate does not connect. So Namu on Graves will be able to get back to the safety of the turret for now.
For now. I felt their blood. They wanted a tower dive there as Namu, as the Graves, was all alone, and they probably had the capability of doing so. Everyone had their flashes up except King Sawyer on the Vayne. But I guess they had to be patient as, again, they were rewarded with that pick earlier, and they had a bit of time to push the waves at least to have a comfortable, map situation.
Yeah, I was just taking a look at the gold there for each of the champions, and actually Shadow Order, their Graves is their strongest champion right now, even despite the Akali having 5 kills. Look at the gold that Graves managed to pick up. He's got 3 items completed there as well, so even though he hasn't been picking up the kills, he's just been farming this whole time and has picked up a lot of cash off the back of that.
Yeah, they managed to sort of half the map, and the jungle of Star Guardians has been dominated by the Graves, but here comes the tower dive.
Yeah, I don't know that King Sawyer's going to be able to get out of this one alive. Certainly not when Obot Cop connects the ultimate. They're going to look for some more. That's a good combo. The Wombo combo. Finally, it's here for Star Guardians. We spoke about it. We asked for it. And that is exactly what they were looking for. Ari arrives as well late in the fight, and that should be enough for the cleanup. Shadow Order, they should not be getting out of here alive at all. And finally, Star Guardians have put that composition to work.
It was beautiful. That was a beautiful set. We were, just as you mentioned, we were looking for it. The Amumu ult over the Kennen ult and vice versa, and they're rewarded. Shadow Order at this point, they have to be careful, even though, let's just say, they're ahead. When it comes to the composition as 5, Star Guardians, they execute the ultimates well. They should win.
And that scaling that's really starting to come into effect for Star Guardians and that team fight presence. Now they look to Baron, and they should be able to secure this one pretty comfortably. Shadow Order only just now starting to respawn and exit their base, so they won't be here in time. And what a swing that is for the gold. It was about an 8 or 9k deficit for Star Guardians. Now it's down to about a 5k deficit, so they are slowly starting to come back into this game. I would say at this point, though, they are still behind. So it's an uphill battle for Star Guardians, but at least there's some fight now.
Yeah, there's a little bit of, I think, sweat from Shadow Order after that fight, and they have to be careful and try to do what they did from the first part of the game. Make sure to see if they can split the team in half for Star Guardians, and that's the time they can take a pick, because that's where their strength is at. And never mind, Star Guardians starting a fight.
Yeah, maybe a little bit preemptive from a Mumu here, but the Braum follow-up, wow! That's a lot of damage coming through from the Braum, and again, another advantage for Star Guardians, but can it turn back on its head? Certainly not. Shadow Order, they don't have their team in the right positions, and now they've overcommitted as well. It's just Cake that's left alive. Shadow Order, they trickled into that fight, and they were punished for it.
Yeah, it was a very, very slow trickle, I believe, which, props to Amumu here for starting that fight, and that's a lot of death timers. 30 seconds, 20 seconds tops. They're knocking on the base of Shadow Order already.
Yeah, this is not looking too good. Cake still waiting for teammates to respawn. 17 seconds for Obot Cop, 12 for the Lux. I'm not sure it's going to happen. That is the Nexus done. Star Guardians, with a very good comeback, have actually managed to win the game. I can't believe it. From the start that they had, you would have thought they were done. But it just goes to show the power of sticking in there and having that late game composition. Star Guardians come away with the win, and they're quite pleased with that. I
absolutely agree. It was crazy because it was really, throughout the whole game, from early to mid, it seemed like Shadow Order had that game in the bag, but patience is key, and waiting for that late game is what turned the tides of battle, and Star Guardians won that match.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about that while we were casting the game, didn't we? And even in the draft, we thought that this was a bit more of a late game oriented kind of a team composition for Star Guardians, where Shadow Order would be quite happy to try and put in a bit of work early. They try to take some fights early on in the piece, and they did, and they won those fights. But the advantage and the lead that they got themselves wasn't quite enough. I thought there was a couple of defining moments that we saw throughout that game as well that seemed to start turning things around. For me, Bangpen on the Braum with the roams doing a really, really good job being able to open up a couple of early engagements for Star Guardians. But then for me, the MVP, and I think we'll probably see that when we do get to the stats at the end of the game as well here, was Dexy Diaz, aka Zulu, on the Ari. So let's have a look at the post-game stats and see whether or not I'm going to be correct in that assumption. Have to imagine it can't go to anyone but that Ari, and indeed the MVP does go over 6-0 and 6 for that game. I mean, not really a foot put wrong by Dexy Diaz, and great work for Star Guardians, really carrying them through not only the late game, but most importantly, it felt like the early and the mid game was where some of that Ari presence really did help them out.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just one of those things where mid to early to mid rather, you've got Dexy Diaz being that solid rock in the mid lane. As you can see with the stats, got 4 to 3 deaths from some of the members. It just spells out how tough of the early game is for the Star Guardian. Shadow Order though, the SVP there will be solos on the Akali. He did his absolute best, but again, the late game kept creeping in towards not in their favor.
Yeah, certainly was quite an annoyance to deal with for Star Guardians. I'll say that much at least. I also thought that the Graves in there as well, Namu did a pretty reasonable job, seemed to be getting quite farmed up, but again, just did get a little bit outscaled. And when you're going up against a composition that has such strong team fighting, like a Mumu, Kennen, Braum even, you know, you sort of layer those ultimates on top of each other, and then the damage follow-up from the Vayne and the Ari, I think it's going to be difficult to deal with regardless of how strong you really are. And the further we got into that game, you saw sort of Star Guardians were able to really start to capitalize on that late game scaling. Once they got a few items under their belt, things really started to look a little bit better for them. And overall, very nicely played game by Star Guardians. But of course, congratulations to the MVP, Dexy Diaz. I thought she played a great game there, and you'd be quite happy. Obviously, she hails from the Philippines. So, you know, as you said earlier on, you were a fan of Dexy Diaz. Now you must be even more so.
Yeah, absolutely happy carrying that, you know, PH flag and no deaths in the game, and able to again be that solid rock in the mid lane, able to again stabilize everything, even though the rest of the lanes were a little bit being ganked by the Graves and as well as the Akali.
Well, I think lucky for us as well, Riku, we've got an interview, so why don't we jump straight into that one? Hi, Dexy.
Hey, Dexy.
Hello.
My first question is, what does it feel like to play Wild Rift on the new ROG Phone 5?
Well, I've been using the ROG Phone 3 for a while, and I can definitely say they upgraded the ROG Phone 5 to the next level. You know, better core and better cooling.
Absolutely, that's great. How do you feel about winning the show match, though?
Well, my adrenaline went up. I was excited for this show match for a while, and then today's the day. Really happy being part of this with the Star Guardian.
Well, congratulations again on the win. Do you have anything to say to your fans?
Okay, guys, if you want to play League of Legends Wild Rift, you know, with the great graphics and everything, you know, of course the speakers, because I really like the ROG Phone 5's speakers because it's really loud. Don't need your headphones or headsets, and you can buy your own ROG Phone 5. And thank you for everybody who is supporting me. That's all.
All right, well, thank you very much for the interview, Dexy. It was great to chat with you.
Bye.
See ya. And great to get the insight from one of the players as well there, Rico. Obviously, Dexy Diaz having a great performance individually, but as a team, very good work done by Star Guardians as well.
Yeah, she definitely shown her tournament experience from the past. Really did show in this game. And I know it's a little bit sweaty for the rest of the Star Guardians here, but seeing the Star Guardians, or seeing Dexy rather, in that interview, very, very happy. I'm sure her fans are very happy as well.
Yeah, very happy indeed. It's hard not to be when you're playing on an ROG Phone 5. You've got a good team. You've won the game as well. And of course, everyone's watching and cheering you on. So really can't complain too much about that at all. And for those of you playing along at home, we do have a giveaway for you as well. All you have to do is leave a comment in the live stream with the hashtag ROG Phone 5 and the hashtag for those who dare, for a chance to win an ROG Phone 5. I believe there'll be 5 winners that are going to be drawn and announced on the ROG social media later on in the piece. So make sure you're using those hashtags and leaving your comment in the live stream for a chance to win. Wouldn't be too disappointed to win one of those, would you, Riku?
That's true, especially how easy it is to get a chance to win. Leave a comment, show your support, use the hashtags, and wait for the announcement in the ROG social media channels.
Yeah, definitely not too difficult to win yourself an ROG Phone 5. So don't miss out. Don't be lazy. Use those hashtags. Make sure you're in it to win it, because if you're not in it, then you can't win it. And unfortunately for us, Riku, we can't win it. But unfortunately for everyone, that's the end of the ROG Phone 5 All-Star Showmatch. So any final words before we say goodbye?
Well, I just want to say that I had an absolute blast casting the ROG Phone 5 show match, and as well as being part of the launch. And I had a great time watching our favorite content creators and streamers from around SEA just duke it out in this tournament.
Yeah, me too. It was great casting with you, and it was great to be involved. Obviously, a special thanks to everyone at ROG for making the show match happen, and for all of our influencers as well for being involved. Thank you very much for watching as well. We hope you enjoy the rest of the 2021 ROG Phone 5 launch event, and we'll see you next time.
Is it for hero to come?